The big day is here. Chelsea's Champions League draw awaits. Hey there, football fans! Welcome to Chelsea Shed End for an amazing blog post about our UEFA Champions League 2025-26 draw. Here we go into everything. After 3 long years away from Europe's biggest stage, Chelsea fans across the world are counting down the hours until tonight's Champions League draw. Can you feel the excitement building? The Blues are back where they belong, ready to face the continent's elite once again. Tonight at 5 p.m. British summertime, we'll discover who stands between Chelsea and another shot at European glory. It's been a journey getting back here, from the Conference League triumph to watching other teams battle it out in the Champions League while we were stuck on the sidelines. But now we're back, and the anticipation is electric. Why this draw matters more than ever. Let's be honest, this isn't just any Champions League draw. This is Chelsea's grand return to the competition that has given us some of our most magical nights. Remember that incredible final against Bayern Munich in 2012? Or the dramatic comeback against Barcelona that same year? Those memories feel even sweeter now that we're back in the mix. The stakes feel higher this time around. We've had time to think about what we've been missing. While we were winning the Conference League and getting our house in order, Real Madrid, Manchester City, and Barcelona were battling for the ultimate prize. Now it's our turn again. But here's the thing that makes tonight's draw even more special. Everything has changed since we were last here. The format is completely different, and honestly, it might work in our favor. The new Champions League format. What does it mean for Chelsea? Gone are the days of those familiar group stages with 4 teams battling it out in a mini-league. The Champions League has had a complete makeover, and it's going to make this season unlike anything we've experienced before. Instead of being drawn into a group of 4 teams, Chelsea will now face 8 different opponents. Yes, you read that right, 8 teams. We'll play 4 matches at home and 4 away, giving us twice as many chances to see top-quality European football at Stamford Bridge. How does this work exactly? All 36 teams in the competition get split into 4 pots based on their UEFA rankings. Chelsea will face 2 teams from each pot, 1 at home and 1 away. It sounds complicated, but it's actually quite exciting when you think about it. What does this mean for us as fans? More big nights under the lights at the Bridge. More chances to see our team tested against different styles of play. More opportunities for those special European moments that make this competition so addictive. The computer will help with most of the draw because organizing fixtures for 36 teams is incredibly complex. But don't worry, the drama and excitement of the draw ceremony will still be there. We'll still get those heart-stopping moments when the balls come out and we discover our fate. Chelsea's position. Pot 1 status despite the absence. Here's something that might surprise you. Despite being away from the Champions League for 2 seasons, Chelsea have been placed in Pot 1. That means we're considered one of the top 8 teams in the competition. Not bad for a team that was playing Conference League football last season, right? This Pot 1 status is huge for us. It means we avoid some of the biggest names in the early stages and get a slightly easier path through the league phase. We won't have to face teams like Manchester City, Liverpool, Real Madrid, or Barcelona twice. We can only draw a maximum of 2 Pot 1 teams. But let's not get carried away. Being in Pot 1 doesn't guarantee an easy ride. Football has taught us that there are no small teams in the Champions League. Remember when we struggled against some supposedly weaker opponents in previous campaigns? Every game will be a battle. The other Pot 1 teams joining us are quite the collection. Paris Saint-Germain, the current holders, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Inter Milan, Borussia Dortmund, Barcelona, Manchester City, and Liverpool. That's some serious company to be keeping. Who can Chelsea face? Breaking down the possibilities. This is where it gets really interesting. Let's walk through each pot and see what potential matchups await us. From Pot 1, we could face some absolute giants. Paris Saint-Germain would be fascinating. They're the current holders and we actually beat them in the Club World Cup final just last month. That would be some rematch, wouldn't it? Real Madrid remains the ultimate test in European football. They've won this competition more than anyone else, and facing them would give us a chance to measure ourselves against the very best. Bayern Munich and Barcelona would be equally challenging but incredibly exciting for the fans. Inter Milan and Borussia Dortmund might seem like slightly more favorable draws, but both reached the final in recent years. There are no easy games at this level, and any of these teams would test us to our limits. Moving to Pot 2, we find a mix of familiar faces and exciting new challenges. Atletico Madrid under Diego Simeone is always a tough nut to crack. Their defensive discipline and counter-attacking threat would pose serious questions for our team. Bayer Leverkusen had an incredible season recently and would bring energy and pace that could trouble any team. Atalanta from Italy always plays exciting attacking football that makes for great viewing but difficult defending. Juventus carries all that Italian tactical know-how, while Benfica from Portugal has a history of surprising big teams in European competition. Don't sleep on any of these sides, they're all in Pot 2 for good reasons. Pot 3 brings some intriguing possibilities. Ajax and PSV from the Netherlands always play attractive football with young, hungry players looking to make their mark. Napoli would be a return to Italy for some of our players, and Italian teams are never easy to break down. Sporting Lisbon has been building something special in Portugal, and they'd love nothing more than to cause an upset against a big English club. Even teams like Olympiacos, Slavia Prague, and Bodo/Glimt shouldn't be underestimated. They wouldn't be here if they weren't capable of causing problems. From Pot 4, we might see some clubs that seem less threatening on paper, but European football has taught us that reputation means nothing once the ball starts rolling. Copenhagen, Monaco, and Galatasaray all have experience at this level and would be desperate to make their mark. The dream scenario: what every Chelsea fan wants. If we could write the perfect script for tonight's draw, what would it look like? Well, the experts suggest a dream scenario might include Inter Milan and Borussia Dortmund from Pot 1, both strong teams but perhaps slightly more manageable than Real Madrid or Bayern Munich. From Pot 2, getting Juventus and Leverkusen could work in our favor. Juventus might be rebuilding, and while Leverkusen is dangerous, they're still finding their feet at this level consistently. Sporting and Slavia Prague from Pot 3 would give us a good mix, Sporting for that test against quality Portuguese football, and Slavia Prague as a team we should be able to handle if we're at our best. Copenhagen and Union Saint-Gilloise from Pot 4 would round out a very manageable set of fixtures. These teams would still demand respect, but they're the kind of opponents where we'd expect to take maximum points if we perform to our potential. Would this dream scenario guarantee progress to the knockout rounds? Absolutely not. But it would give us the best possible chance to find our rhythm in the competition and build momentum as the season progresses. The nightmare draw, when everything goes wrong. On the flip side, what would keep Chelsea fans awake at night? Imagine drawing Real Madrid and Bayern Munich from Pot 1. Both teams know how to win this competition, and both would test every aspect of our game plan. Add Atletico Madrid and Atalanta from Pot 2, and suddenly we're looking at 4 teams that could beat anyone on their day. Atletico's defensive mastery combined with Atlanta's attacking flair would present completely different challenges that our squad would need to adapt to quickly. Throw in Napoli and Marseille from Pot 3, both teams with passionate fan bases and nothing to lose, and the fixtures become even more demanding. Napoli's attacking talent and Marseille's unpredictability would make for tough nights both home and away. Finally, Galatasaray and Monaco from Pot 4 might seem manageable, but Galatasaray's home atmosphere is legendary, and Monaco has a history of surprising bigger clubs. Even in a nightmare scenario, these teams could cause problems if we're not at 100%. This kind of draw would certainly test the squad's depth and Enzo Maresca's tactical flexibility. But here's the thing about nightmare scenarios: sometimes they bring out the best in Chelsea. Some of our greatest European nights have come when the odds were stacked against us. What this means for Enzo Maresca. Let's talk about our manager for a moment. Enzo Maresca is facing his first Champions League campaign as Chelsea boss, and tonight's draw will shape how he approaches the early months of the season. The good news is that Maresca has shown tactical flexibility and an ability to adapt his game plan based on the opponent. The Champions League will test this to the maximum, with different styles of play and varying levels of intensity across 8 different fixtures. One advantage of the new format is that it gives managers more opportunities to rotate their squad and try different approaches. With 8 games instead of 6 in the group stage, there's more room for experimentation and learning. Maresca will also need to balance Champions League commitments with domestic responsibilities. The fixture list is going to be incredibly demanding, and squad management will be crucial to our success on multiple fronts. The draw will help him and his coaching staff start planning specific tactical approaches for different opponents. Facing Barcelona requires different preparation than facing Copenhagen, and having that information early allows for better long-term planning. Squad depth and rotation. the key to success. One thing the new format really emphasizes is the importance of having a deep, quality squad. 8 games in the league phase means more opportunities for rotation and giving different players their chance to shine. This could be great news for some of our younger players and those who haven't had as many opportunities in Premier League games. The Champions League has often been a platform where players announce themselves to the world, and this season could be no different. Think about it, with 4 home games guaranteed, we'll have plenty of chances to give Stamford Bridge some memorable European nights. The atmosphere at the Bridge during Champions League games is something special, and having more of those occasions is only going to benefit the team. Squad rotation will also be crucial for keeping players fresh throughout what promises to be a very long and demanding season. The teams that manage this balance best are usually the ones still standing at the end. Financial implications and UEFA regulations. Now, we can't ignore the elephant in the room. Chelsea have had some issues with UEFA's financial regulations, and this could impact our Champions League squad registration. The club was fined for breaching squad cost ratio rules last season, which means there might be restrictions on who can be registered for the Champions League. This could force some difficult decisions about which players make the 25-man squad list. The good news is that players born after January 1, 2004, who have been with the club for at least 2 years can be registered on the B list without counting toward the limit. This could open up opportunities for some of our academy graduates. It's a complex situation, but the club's management team will have been preparing for this scenario. The most important thing is that we have enough quality players available to compete effectively in the competition. Historical context: Chelsea's Champions League legacy. Before we look forward, let's remember what this competition has meant to Chelsea over the years. The Champions League has given us some of our greatest moments and most heartbreaking defeats. The 2012 final victory against Bayern Munich in their own backyard remains the pinnacle of our European achievement. That team showed incredible character and determination to overcome the odds and finally claim the trophy we'd been chasing for so long. But it's not just the final that made that campaign special. The semi-final victory over Barcelona at the Camp Nou was one of the greatest away performances in Champions League history. 10 men defending desperately while creating just enough chances to progress. It was peak Chelsea resilience. Going back further, there were those battles with Liverpool in the mid-2000s, the heartbreak against Monaco, and countless other nights that tested our emotions but ultimately made us stronger as a club and a fanbase. The 2021 final victory over Manchester City showed we could still compete at the highest level. Thomas Tuchel's tactical masterclass in Porto proved that Chelsea knows how to rise to the biggest occasions. Now we're back for another chapter in this story. What will the 2025-26 campaign bring? Tonight's draw will give us our first clue. The road ahead, from draw to glory. Whatever happens in tonight's draw, one thing is certain: Chelsea will be ready for the challenge. This club has never backed down from a fight, and the Champions League brings out something special in everyone connected with the Blues. The league phase will run from September through January, giving us months of high-quality European football to look forward to. 8 different opponents means 8 different challenges, 8 different opportunities to show what this Chelsea team is made of. The beauty of the new format is that it rewards consistency over perfection. You don't have to win your group anymore. You just need to finish in the top 24 to secure a place in the knockout rounds. This gives teams more margin for error and could lead to more exciting, attacking football. For Chelsea, this could be the perfect format to ease back into Champions League competition. More games mean more opportunities to find our rhythm and build momentum. It also means more chances for memorable nights at Stamford Bridge. What can fans expect this season? As supporters, we should prepare ourselves for a thrilling ride. The Champions League always delivers drama, excitement, and unforgettable moments. This season promises to be no different. The new format means we'll see a greater variety of opponents and playing styles. This could make for more entertaining football and give us the chance to see how our team adapts to different challenges. Home games at Stamford Bridge will be crucial. The atmosphere at Champions League nights is always electric, and having 4 guaranteed home fixtures gives us more opportunities to create that special European night feeling. Away days will test our traveling support, but Chelsea fans have always shown up when the team needs them most. Whether it's Barcelona or Bodo/Glimt, the blue shirts will be there making noise and backing the boys. Most importantly, we should remember that being back in this competition is an achievement in itself. After the disappointment of missing out for 2 seasons, just hearing the Champions League anthem at Stamford Bridge again will be emotional for many fans. The bigger picture. Building for the future. This Champions League campaign is about more than just this season. It's about re-establishing Chelsea as one of Europe's elite clubs and showing the football world that our absence was just a temporary setback. Success in this competition could attract top players who want to test themselves at the highest level. It could also provide valuable experience for our younger players who haven't had the chance to compete at this standard before. The financial benefits of Champions League participation are also significant. Prize money, television revenue, and commercial opportunities all increase when you're competing against the best teams in Europe. But beyond the money and the prestige, there's something intangible about the Champions League that makes it special. The history, the tradition, the moments of pure football magic that can only happen on this stage. Tonight's draw, what to watch for. So what should we be looking for when the draw begins at 5 p.m.? First, pay attention to which Pot 1 teams we avoid. Missing out on Real Madrid or Bayern Munich would be a good start. From Pot 2, getting one of the Italian teams might be preferable to facing Atletico Madrid's defensive masterclass. But really, any of these teams will pose significant challenges. The Pot 3 draw could be where we find some value. Teams like Ajax or Sporting could provide entertaining football without being overwhelming favorites against us. Pot 4 is where we'd hope to pick up some crucial points, but as we've learned over the years, there are no easy games in European football. Remember, the draw is largely automated due to the complexity of organizing 36 teams' fixtures. The ceremony will still have its dramatic moments, but much of the actual pairing will be done by computer to ensure all the rules are followed correctly. Final thoughts. Ready for the challenge. As we count down the hours until tonight's draw, one thing is clear: Chelsea is ready for this challenge. We've been away from the Champions League for too long, and the hunger to succeed at this level is stronger than ever. Whatever opponents we face, they'll find a Chelsea team that's learned from its time away from Europe's elite competition. We've rebuilt, reorganized, and refocused on what it takes to compete at the highest level. The new format gives us opportunities and challenges in equal measure. More games mean more chances to impress, but also more opportunities for things to go wrong. It's exactly the kind of test that this Chelsea squad needs to prove itself. Tonight, when those balls come out and our opponents are revealed, remember that this is just the beginning. The real work starts when the games begin in September. But for now, let's enjoy being back where we belong and dream about what this Champions League campaign might bring. From the Conference League to the Champions League in one season, that's the kind of rapid progress that shows this club's ambition and determination. Now let's see if we can go all the way and bring that famous trophy back to Stamford Bridge once again. EFL Cup Draw. A trip to Lincoln City. While all eyes are on tonight's Champions League draw, Chelsea fans also discovered earlier this week that our domestic cup journey will begin with a trip to Lincoln City in the 3rd round of the EFL Cup. It might not have the glamour of facing Barcelona or Real Madrid, but this fixture represents something equally important: the chance to build momentum and give opportunities to players who need game time. The draw paired us with the League One side, and honestly, it's exactly the kind of fixture that can either be a comfortable evening's work or turn into a potential banana skin if we don't approach it with the right mentality. Lincoln City might not be household names, but they've earned their place in this round and will be desperate to cause an upset against Premier League opposition. Lincoln City. What do we know about our EFL Cup opponents? Lincoln City, managed by Michael Skubala, have made a solid start to their League One campaign with 10 points from their opening 5 matches. That's the kind of form that suggests they're well-organized and confident. Exactly the type of lower league opponent that can cause problems if you underestimate them. The Imps, as they're known to their fans, reached the 3rd round by defeating Harrogate Town and Burton Albion. While those might not sound like the most impressive victories, getting through 2 rounds of cup football always builds confidence and gives teams belief they can go further. What makes this fixture even more interesting is the history between the two clubs, or rather, the lack of recent history. The last time Chelsea faced Lincoln City was all the way back in 1911. Yes, you read that right, 1911. That's over a century ago, which means this will be uncharted territory for both sets of supporters. In total, we've faced Lincoln 8 times throughout our history, but with such a massive gap since our last meeting, there's no real recent form guide to look at. This adds an element of mystery to the fixture that could work in either team's favor. The LNER Stadium. Away day atmosphere. Our meeting with Lincoln will take place at the LNER Stadium, and if you've never been to a lower league ground for a cup tie, you're missing out on one of football's special experiences. These fixtures often have a unique atmosphere that's completely different from our usual Premier League matches. Lincoln's home ground holds around 10,000 supporters, and you can bet it will be packed to the rafters when Chelsea come to town. For many of their fans, this will be the biggest game they've seen at their ground in years. The atmosphere will be electric, hostile, and exactly the kind of environment that can either inspire our players or catch them off guard. Away days at grounds like this remind you why football is so special. There's something pure about cup football that strips away all the commercial gloss and gets back to the basics. 11 players against 11 players, with everything decided on the pitch. The traveling Chelsea support will undoubtedly make themselves heard, but they'll be vastly outnumbered by home fans who see this as their cup final. It's the kind of David versus Goliath atmosphere that makes domestic cup competitions so compelling. Squad rotation and opportunity knocks. Here's where the EFL Cup fixture becomes really interesting from Chelsea's perspective. This is the perfect opportunity for Enzo Maresca to rotate his squad and give chances to players who haven't featured heavily in Premier League matches. Think about our younger players who are hungry for first-team football. This could be their moment to show what they can do on a stage that matters. Cup competitions have launched many careers at Chelsea over the years, and Lincoln City could be where the next generation announces itself. Players returning from injury could also use this fixture as a way to build match fitness without the intense pressure of Premier League or Champions League football. It's a chance to get minutes in the legs and rhythm in the game ahead of bigger challenges. The squad players who have been patient and professional while waiting for their chance will see this as an opportunity to force their way into Maresca's thinking for more important fixtures. A strong performance at Lincoln could earn them more opportunities down the line. But here's the important thing. Rotation doesn't mean taking the fixture lightly. Cup upsets happen when big teams think they can just turn up and win. Lincoln will be prepared, motivated, and ready to give everything for 90 minutes. We need to match that commitment regardless of which players start. EFL Cup format and tournament structure. The beauty of the EFL Cup lies in its knockout format. There are no second chances, no away goals rule to fall back on, and no replays until the semi-finals. If the game is tied after 90 minutes, it goes straight to penalties. That's it, sudden death football at its purest. This format means every moment matters. A single lapse in concentration, one defensive mistake, or one moment of magic can decide the entire tie. It's exactly this unpredictability that makes the EFL Cup such compelling viewing and such a dangerous competition for favorites. Chelsea enter at the third round stage along with the other Premier League clubs competing in European competitions. This bye into the third round is both a blessing and a curse. We avoid the early rounds where most upsets happen, but we also miss out on the chance to build tournament rhythm. The timing of our tie will be crucial. EFL Cup third-round matches are split across 2 weeks due to European commitments. We'll either play in the week commencing September 15th or September 22nd, depending on our Champions League schedule. This scheduling adds another layer of complexity to squad management. Maresca will need to balance domestic cup commitments with European obligations, and the Lincoln fixture could come at a crucial time in our Champions League preparation. Historical context: Chelsea's EFL Cup record. The EFL Cup has been good to Chelsea over the years. We've won it 5 times, with our most recent victory coming in 2015 when we defeated Tottenham 2-0 at Wembley. Before that, we claimed the trophy in 2005, 2007, and twice in 1965 and 1998. More importantly, the EFL Cup has often been a stepping stone to greater success. Many of our most successful seasons have included strong cup runs that built confidence and momentum for bigger challenges. The tournament has a way of bringing squads together and creating the winning mentality needed for major honors. For younger players, the EFL Cup has historically been their pathway into the first team. Many current and former Chelsea stars got their first taste of senior football in this competition before establishing themselves in the Premier League and Champions League. The Cup also provides managers with the chance to experiment with tactics and formations without the pressure of league points or European qualification. These experiments sometimes lead to discoveries that benefit the team throughout the season. The danger of complacency. Let's be honest about the biggest threat facing Chelsea at Lincoln: complacency. On paper, this should be a straightforward victory for a Premier League side against League One opposition. But football is not played on paper, and cup competitions are littered with the bodies of teams that thought they just had to show up to win. Lincoln will have nothing to lose and everything to gain. They'll play without pressure, with freedom, and with the knowledge that causing an upset would be the highlight of many players' careers. That's a dangerous combination for any favorite to face. Recent history is full of lower league sides beating Premier League opponents in domestic cups. It happens every season because football is unpredictable and cup competitions reward courage, organization, and a bit of luck over reputation and league position. The key for Chelsea is approaching this fixture with the same professionalism and preparation we'd bring to any important match. Respect the opponent, prepare properly, and execute the game plan regardless of the perceived quality gap. Building tournament momentum. If we get through the Lincoln fixture successfully, it could be the start of something special. Tournament momentum is real in cup competitions, and teams that progress with confidence often find themselves going deeper than expected. The EFL Cup offers a genuine path to silverware this season. While it might not have the prestige of the Champions League or Premier League, winning any trophy builds the mentality and habits needed for bigger success. For a squad that includes many players new to Chelsea, a cup run could be exactly what's needed to develop team chemistry and understanding. Playing together in meaningful matches creates bonds that translate to better performance in all competitions. The route to Wembley starts at Lincoln City. It might not be the most glamorous beginning, but every successful cup run starts with navigating these potentially tricky early rounds. Fan perspective: embracing the cup magic. For Chelsea supporters, the Lincoln fixture represents something different from our usual match-day experience. This is grassroots football, lower league atmosphere, and the kind of authentic football experience that reminds you why you fell in love with the game. The traveling support will play a huge role in this fixture. A strong away following can lift the team and create an atmosphere that makes the players feel supported even in hostile territory. It's also a chance for fans who might not always get tickets for Premier League matches to see the team in action. Cup competitions bring out something special in football supporters. There's an edge to these matches, a sense that anything can happen, that makes them different from league fixtures where the favorite usually wins. Whether this becomes a comfortable evening or a nervy cup tie will depend largely on how both teams approach the match. But either way, it's going to be a fascinating encounter that could set the tone for our entire cup campaign. Conclusion: 2 cups, 1 goal. As we prepare for tonight's Champions League draw and look ahead to our EFL Cup fixture at Lincoln, one thing becomes clear: Chelsea is back competing on multiple fronts. After our time away from European football, having cup competitions to juggle is exactly the problem we wanted to have. The Lincoln fixture might not generate the same excitement as facing Real Madrid or Barcelona, but it's equally important in its own way. Success in cup competitions requires the right mentality from the first round to the final, and that mentality needs to be established at grounds like the LNER Stadium. Tonight's Champions League draw will dominate the headlines, but don't forget about our trip to Lincoln. In football, sometimes the smallest stories end up being just as important as the bigger ones. Both competitions offer paths to glory, and Chelsea should be ready to take advantage of both opportunities. The draw awaits. The excitement builds. Chelsea is back in the Champions League, and European football is about to be reminded why this club belongs among the very best. But before we conquer Europe, we have a trip to Lincoln City to navigate. Whatever happens tonight, one thing is certain: it's going to be an incredible journey back to the top of European football.